game to miss to the right on a lot of his first balls. The 1-2-4, the 1-2. Any particular reason why you feel you did that?
Yeah, I watched Pro Bowlers Tour yesterday, and all I kept hearing is trust is a must, and I keep repeating that to myself. And when I trust too much, I have a tendency to throw outside the second arrow, and I'm in trouble. Will not make it back.
Now, how about the lane conditions here under the TV lights? You were able to roll a few balls over there on the end before you got under the TV lights. How much different are these lanes?
They're basically the same. It's a little bit of a tighter line. I had to shift one board to the right. It's a nice condition.
We'll see you back. Congratulations for qualifying.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Art Rossi. Thanks, Art.
Thank you.
Nice job. Now we're going to call upon our special guest, Roy Buckley. And we do have another match coming for you, but it's after Roy gives us his clinic. And Roy, this is always a real treat for us because we get to hear your thoughts as you're actually bowling a game. We're going to ask you not to throw a strike on every ball, though.
I can almost promise that.
What goes through your mind as you're out there and trying to explain to people how to bowl? Do you try to leave yourself with a certain spare every now and then to maybe relate to people who are watching who might leave that spare as a common rule when they bowl?
Well, basically what I do is I really don't play one game. We bowl 6-game blocks or we bowl 8-game blocks. And basically I just bowl one game. I bowl each frame. If I'm on lane 7, I concentrate just on lane 7 at that particular time. I try not to think of what happened on lane 8 because lane 8 is a different situation. If I shoot 250 the first game, I try not to let that influence what I do the next game because it was just 12 frames. I bowl real well for 12 frames, so I'm just going to try and bowl that well again the next frame. So I just try and make the adjustments on whatever I need to do at that particular moment and really not look at it as I had a good game or whatever.
Well, we know you've been sitting for a few hours, haven't really had a chance to warm up adequately, but with that in mind, we're going to turn you loose and see what you can do out here, Roy.
Okay. Be looking forward to it. There's, you know, it's just like an airplane. An airplane just doesn't take right off. You have to warm up a little bit first.
All right. Well, we'll let you go to it and see how things go. For Roy Buckley.
Right now, the ball feels just a little bit tight because I have sitting up there not doing anything.
I know coming off the stand up there after sitting for an hour or so, it's very difficult to come down here without any practice at all and throw a shot. And I think you'll see that Roy will basically try to get everything loosened up before he makes the best shot he can make. You want to get your muscles activated, and I believe the first few balls here, Roy will do that.
Right now, my hand's just a little bit tight. You know, you have to loosen your hand up. The holes are just a little bit snug, and once I squeeze them a few times, while they'll loosen up a little bit. Anyway, on the approach, I usually normally take 4 steps. But until I get warmed up, I take 5 steps just to make sure everything is nice and smooth and loose. I really don't want to go up there and maybe stick or drop the ball or do something that would possibly injure myself in the warming up.
That's a good point. So we shouldn't hold these frames against him. This is still Roy's warm-up.
I think like in any other sport, you have to warm up prior to your performance. Whether it's a football player or a baseball player, they don't walk out of the locker room and just line up and snap the ball. You've got to get the muscles working properly. I think that's when most of the injuries occurs, when a player is not warmed up.
Here's a tough one right here, 6-7-10 for Roy. Roy, you've been one of the most consistent bowlers on the tour, as witnessed by your record, and obviously being able to make spares is a part of that consistency.
Yes, spares are an important part of the game. For each spare that you miss, you have to throw 2 strikes in a row just to get even. So that takes up 3 frames. So if you missed a spare in the first frame, you can't possibly be even again until the 3rd frame. And a guy that makes 3 spares he can have the same score you have in the third frame and not even throw a strike. So spares are very, very important. On the pro level, if you shoot too many of them, it's not too good. You have to get into the strikes. But the strikes are important to, well, the spares are important just so that you don't have to throw those extra strikes. It catches up towards the end if you don't. Well, let's see what happens here. If I remember what we did before. Practiced a little bit earlier, and that was pretty much what I did before, and it's still there. You know, the shot hasn't changed that much.
Did you move a little left because of your first ball going Brooklyn on this lane?
No, I was just warming up. I paid no attention to that. That was mostly just to go through the motions and get rid of the ball. That time, I tried to do everything I wanted to do, and the best I could do it, and it worked. We'll see what happens on the other alley. That was lane 7, so we'll see what happens on 8. 8 may be a little bit different.
Yes, I believe 8 is a little different. Roy and I had talked about the conditioning, and we felt that lane 8 had a little more reaction in it than lane 7 did. So that's where your experience comes into play. I'm sure with Roy's experience, he'll immediately read that that lane does hook more, and the next time he gets to lane 8, he'll make the proper adjustments.
Pretty unusual. In 2 frames over on lane 8, he's had the 6, 7, 10 twice.
Yes, it's consistency. As he said, in this first shot, he didn't try to line up. In the second one, he did. Well, evidently, both shots were thrown in the same place and had the same results. Although they weren't good results, it's a learning experience from frame to frame.
The main thing right now is to forget about what happened over there. I know what to do over here. I got a strike the last time. I should be that close. You know, you don't have to get a strike every time, but it should be at least that close again. I was a little bit fast, and the ball was a little bit farther to the right, and it just didn't finish good. I didn't get a good release off the hand. Kind of muscled that ball a little bit and just didn't come through it clean.
Yes, I think this is part of the game that the average bowler does not relate to. That looked like an excellent shot visually, but as far as execution goes, Roy knows he didn't roll it well, even though it seemed to hit the proper place on the lane. Now, he knows it was his fault that he left that split, not the lane.
Shooting the 5-7, and he gets it.
Yes.
Basic adjustment for that was mostly just to move my feet about 2 boards to the left, keep a little extra speed, using basically the same target. That made the ball slide a little farther back to the right so that you hit the 5-pin on the right side.
Yes, a lot of times when you leave a 5-7 like that, you can come back with the same shot and convert that 5-7.
The last time I was high on this lane, so no matter what happens this time, I want to be light, if anything. You know, I may not get a strike, but I would rather leave a spare on the left side of the lane, like the 2-4-5 or maybe the weak 7. If I do hit the pocket, it may be a weak 10. Hopefully I'll get a strike, but I'm going to basically throw this shot like I just threw that shot there for the 5-7. Move a little bit farther to the left with my feet, keeping the target the same.
We don't want to see the 6, 7, 10 this time.
Yes, as he said, he does not want to make the same mistake again. He would rather make a different mistake, if any at all.
Oh, that's a perfect adjustment.
Yes.
So we got lucky right off the bat. We hit it. So let's see, that should be like the 4th frame after being warmed up.
Right. Yeah, we had 2 warm-up
So
frames
frame.
and then 4 frames where you were ready.
Right now I'm in the 180 range. If I can strike here, we'll be right back into the 190 range.
Ah, beautiful ball.
Excellent shot. Excellent.
That was a little inside of what I was looking at, but it was slow enough and a little bit softer because of it leaving the 5-7 a little earlier. The ball held up and still carried.
See, now, Roy, when you get to a situation as this, you've hit both lanes now, you feel that you're lined up. So now the rest of the game is just letting your body and your muscles do what you've trained them to do.
Right, if I'm in good shape and I'm bowling well, from here on in it should be nothing but a wrap. I should get a strike every time, maybe a 4-pin, maybe a 10-pin.
Yes, every shot should get to the pocket.
So this is the difference between winning and losing. You should have it all figured out by the 4th frame. 2 shots on each lane. From there on out, it should be
execution.
Automatic.
Sounds good. Well, he practices what he preaches, Ross.
Yes. After 13 years on the tour with that much experience, you can take what he says for what it is. You can take it to the bank and cash it in. It'll work.
You know, the problem with amateurs is, number one, figuring out what adjustments to
Exactly.
make, and number two, getting your muscles to do the same thing.
You must train the muscles first.
Good-looking ball here.
And we got a break here.
Got some nice action. It did come up a little light.
That ball got just a little bit farther to the right, but by having the right release and the right roll and playing the alleys at the proper angle, you get those kind of breaks. If we play them at the wrong angle, I could throw that exact same shot and left something else if I was standing in the wrong place. This is what's been happening to a lot of these guys today that we're bowling. They really didn't throw the ball that bad. They were just playing it in the wrong place on the lane. And it's something you have to learn over a time, you have to do it over and over again, different places, to realize when you should do certain things. There's the case of making sure it stayed to the right and just didn't get through it good. Got a little too far inside, the ball slid back out to the right too far.
It's like
At least it's a spare that you can be made. I didn't get as many pins as I'd like to, but at least I'm really not in that much trouble. It's a tough spare, but at least it can be made.
And once again, you see here where when you leave a cluster of pins such as that 5-con, it's very difficult to cover it even when you make a good shot, because you have to get the mix of the pins. You have to have a little bit of a break. Roy likes lane 7. He's going to try it again.
The way he's been throwing the ball, we should see another strike here. He leaves at 10. Roy Buckley, everybody.
That was the wrap.
Nice job. Well, Roy, I think in drawing some general conclusions, comparing yourself to maybe some of the big crankers, the guys who throw the big hook balls on the Pro Tour, you don't throw that big a ball, but your consistency is what's really been marvelous over the years. Is this what you try to do? I mean, can you throw the big ball if you want?
I worked on it quite a bit, and I can almost do it physically, but I can't get myself to do it mentally. Every time I get in a tough situation, a pressure situation, I just can't make myself do it. I know what I can do this way, so this is what I have to do. I've just resigned myself to the fact that this is the way I play the game. I can play it the best way I can this way, so I'm not really going to force myself or even try to do it the other way.
The man has won almost $500,000, so you can't fault success, can you, Ross?
No, you can't. Roy's done very well through his career. He's had 13 years, 7 titles, Roy. Yeah, it's worked. And like Roy said, you have to play your own game. If your game is a straight game, play it straight. Don't try to hook it if you're a straight player, and don't try to play straight if you're a hooker. So wait for your shot to come.
Roy, thanks for the clinic. We enjoyed it very much.
My pleasure.
And we'll be back with another match in just a moment. The trophies for the HSE Amateur Bowlers Tour are provided by West Penn Billiard and Trophy Incorporated in Pittsburgh. Each trophy was designed and built by George Leon and his staff. Many thanks to George Leon and everyone over at West Penn Billiard and Trophy for their part in the HSE Amateur Bowlers Tour. And now our final amateur match of the day. We'll see Steve Zilka bowling against Joe Etor. Joe will bowl first, and he has a handicap of 4. He's from Whitehall, PA, 35 years old, a mail carrier. He's married with 2 daughters. His home lanes are South Hills Bowl. He has a handicap of 4.